Okay, so we're going to look at standard form and graphing with intercepts. Now, I've been emphasizing something really, really important to you guys, which is the idea of the X and Y axis, right? What axis is this one? The Y axis. And it's also known as the Y axis is also known as the vertical axis because it's vertical. Vertical axis, in case you were going to use something like weight, or gallons, right? Okay. What axis is this one right here? X-axis, and another name for it could be the horizontal axis. Good, horizontal. Who can tell me what the equation of the y-axis is? What is true about all of the points on the y-axis? X equals 0. I want you to memorize that. X equals 0 is the equation for the y-axis. So if the y-axis committed a crime, its alias could be x equals 0. That's the equation of that line, okay? The y-axis has another name. It's x equals 0. What is the equation of the x-axis? Yes, y equals 0. Y equals 0. Y equals 0 is a horizontal line, and all along the x-axis, y equals 0. Now, if you have a point, let's say you have a point here, and let's just call this point 0, 2. And let's call this point over here 3, 0. What are those points called? The one on the y-axis is called a what? A y-intercept. The one on the x-axis is called the x-intercept. And technically, how many points do you need to form a straight line? Yeah, 3 if you want to be safe. You technically only need 2 points to form a line. So if you have an x-intercept and a y-intercept, all you need are those 2 points. And that's the line between them, right? So what's really nice about knowing those intercepts, we can use that. We're going to be using intercepts. That's why I say memorize these concepts right here, because in Math 65, when we graph, we'll use intercepts. In Math 95, when we graph, we'll use intercepts. Why do you think mathematicians love intercepts so much? Because 0 is our best friend. 0 is the best friend of any mathematician because a mathematician does not want to do hard work. We want to do as minimal work as we have to get the right answer. So I don't want to do hard work. I want to do easy work. I want to be efficient with my time. And when I use intercepts, I can be very efficient because I can use 0, and 0 requires mental math. I can do plenty of mental math with 0. I know my 0 times tables by heart. Do you guys? It's the easiest one. Actually, I used to, when I taught 7th grade, I would give the kids extra credit for every day that they did their times tables. I had one girl, and she would I was thinking about her the other day. I was like, man, she would only do her 0s and her 1s times tables. She was really scamming the system. She's like, oh, you're giving extra credit, huh? I did my 0 times tables 20 times last night. I have a whole book full of them. Oh, okay, great. A linear equation is in the form ax plus by equals c. This is referred to as standard form. So that's different than y equals mx plus b, right? That's a different form. We actually now know 3 forms of linear equations. We know y equals mx plus b. We know y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. This one is slope-intercept form, and actually that's an implied y-intercept, right? Slope, y-intercept. We know, what is this one called? Do you know? We just learned it. Yes, it's point-slope form. Point-slope form, because you have a point, x1, y1, and the slope. That's why it's called point-slope form, because it's got a point and it's got a slope. Now, this new form is standard form, ax plus by equals c. And you might remember from when we were solving for a variable, you could rearrange this and get it into slope y-intercept form. We're going to talk about that later. Okay? A, B, and C are real numbers. Both A or B and C cannot be 0. An x-intercept occurs when the graph intersects the x-axis. This occurs when y equals 0. So you would have an x and a 0, right? You would have a number for x. A y-intercept occurs when the graph intersects the y-axis. This occurs when x equals 0. So you have 0, and I'll just put a y, but we remember that this is the same thing as 0b. And the b comes from the y equals mx plus b from this formula back here. Okay, identify the x and the y-intercepts for each graph below. So we're just going to go here and we're just going to say, well, this is my y-intercept. This is, what's that point? There we go, 0, 2. It's the one I used above. So the y-intercept is 0, 2 because it occurs on the y-axis. What's the x-intercept? 5, 0. Okay, go ahead and do that for the next 3 graphs.